Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline for Pixie Dust PhD. I am filming this on April 10th, 2022, and the channel is now 26 months old. There's been so much Disney news lately, we definitely aren't going to cover it all, but we'll talk about a few bits and pieces here during this update. Then of course we will go over both the monthly and lifetime analytics for the channel. Happy MLB season to all of you who care. I know I am absolutely delighted that we weren't locked out for longer. But I promise this video won't talk about baseball, we'll talk about Disney, stay tuned. In my opinion, some of the biggest Disney news that came out, especially that probably you all as viewers of this channel care about, is that Disney Vacation Club Polynesian Tower that they announced. I do want to note that we really don't know that many facts, so as you are consuming news about this very exciting project, just try to read through things with a discerning eye and figure out what is a fact versus what is an opinion or speculation. A lot of people are not excited about this project. I think that's very obvious. There's a lot of people who do not think it's worth losing the Spirit of Aloha dinner show, and I, fully respect that that is their opinion. For me though, and I think for a lot of people who already are Disney Vacation Club owners or are seriously considered becoming Disney Vacation Club owners, this is a huge perk and absolutely worth the loss of the dinner show and, worth a tower aesthetic as opposed to the longhouses that are already at the Polynesian, etc. My very unpopular opinion about this basically is that Disney Vacation Development, so the corporate owners of DVC, right? They probably aren't too concerned with the general public opinion. They probably want to know what current owners and people who seriously are thinking about becoming owners think. That's their target. Those are the people who are going to be spending the dollars for that part of the business. So I have seen a lot of outrage online, and you do you can hate it, that's fine. But I always kind of chuckle when people think that, if we get enough people to sign a petition or voice their displeasure or whatever, we can save the Spirit of Aloha show. Well, if you were people that don't own Disney Vacation Club or are not on their radar as solid potential owners, I'm not really sure that they care about your opinion because you're not the target audience to begin with. I feel that way about most of corporate America, and that definitely applies to Disney, wherein when they're looking at projects to build a profit, there is a target audience among that, and it's not always the whole fan base, right? There can be subsections, and for Disney Vacation Club, I think that's especially true. I am really excited for the tower. I hope you are too. I understand if you're not, though. You're certainly entitled to your opinion. And thanks so much to all of you who did interact with that sort of news update Disney Vacation Club Polynesian Tower video sooner to when it was posted. Again, if you haven't yet, I would really appreciate it if you checked it out. Another huge news piece, which I think we were all anticipating, but it's officially confirmed now that the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind Coaster is going to open in late May for Memorial Day weekend. I believe it is May 27th. Now, there's going to be cast member previews as well as annual pass holder and DVC member previews, so May 27th won't be the first time anyone gets on the ride, but that's the official opening date for the public. I'm excited about this coaster. I am nervous about how my motion sickness will handle it, so yeah, that'll be a fun thing to find out. I have no plans to go to Disney World for the remainder of 2022, so I anticipate that I will ride it for the first time next year in 2023. So I have plenty of time between now and then for other people to ride it and tell me if it made them want to faint or puke or anything related to their motion sickness. I personally am more excited for Tron. I can't really put my finger on why. I think the Guardians coaster has been marketed as a family-friendly situation, and Tron seems like it'll be more intense, and I just, I really like intense coasters, so to me, I want to know when Tron's gonna open. I want to know that news. I'm very hopeful it will be open before I go for the next time, sometime in 2023, but we'll see. Are you looking forward to the new Cosmic Rewind coaster, and when do you think you'll ride it? Let me know in the comments down below. Another piece of news that I don't think probably most people care about as much as I do is that they are phasing back in character meet and greets both at Disneyland and Walt Disney World beginning April 18th. I'm sure this will be a slow phase in, and I'm really excited. I mean, I think that's a huge part of Disney for me personally, but I also am very cognizant that there are cast members in these roles, and I want them to feel comfortable and as safe as possible, which in a character meet and greet situation might be pretty tricky. I am wishing them all the best, and certainly, friends of Jasmine and Ariel and Pocahontas, I think they have probably had a nice time not having to interact with some more unruly guests, as I'm sure they received quite a lot of harassment. It's very easy to be respectful to cast members and friends of the characters, so just remember that going into it, and they're a little rusty, it's been a while since they've had to meet and greet, so pack your patience as always. And I don't think I've seen an official announcement yet, but I do assume that part of the phased in strategy is going to include more standard character dining, which I definitely am really excited about because yeah, I want to do a real princess meal. I want to really do Cinderella's Royal Table or Akershus. I mean, I want to do both, but princess meal. I'm looking forward to that. The timing of phasing everything back in, if they have it internally, I do not believe has been released publicly. It's also very possible that they don't have a plan internally yet. They may be taking it literally day by day, week by week, assessing the situations and figuring out what the next move is. So it could be very, very, very slow. And I know, that if you're a character person or if your kids are and you're going in May and things aren't up back to full speed, that could be very frustrating. But, every little step back towards quote unquote normalcy, at least in the parks world and for character meet and greets, I think is a bonus. And so we just have to take it one day at a time. And I'm just grateful that they're starting to bring some of this back. But let me know what you think about this and if you have any predictions about character dining. I also wonder if the return of character dining may signal the return of the Disney dining plan, which I know a lot of people have been missing, so that could be a very fun next big news announcement. Related to dining, we also recently heard that the Hoop-Dee-Doo musical review is returning, I believe in late June, I want to say June 23rd or so. I've never done this dinner show. I'm not a big dinner show person, but I know a lot of people love this, and people were very worried about it once Spirit of Aloha was announced as not returning. This is great news for all of those performance cast members, and even better news for all of those who love Hoop-Dee-Doo. If you have been to this, let me know what your experience has been like in the comments down below. I'm pretty curious. It seems kind of expensive for what it is, but maybe I'm missing the point. I think part of it is also my semi-extreme introvertedness where I don't want any chance of a character interacting with me in that kind of setting. I would internally scream. And the last piece of news that I wanted to talk about, again, there's so much more Disney news that I do not cover on this channel, so if I missed anything big and you want to chat, let me know. But the piece of news I wanted to highlight is they're going to apparently start testing mobile checkout at the Disney resorts. I have found it strange for a long time now that you have to literally check out at the front desk and there hasn't been a mobile option, especially considering the My Disney Experience app exists and you can open your room with your phone and, they had integrated so many other aspects of it. The fact that you couldn't do mobile checkout I thought was very strange. I have always just done the actual checkout at the front desk. I guess I've gotten lucky, but there's never been a long line or anything. And, I see my bill in my email and it's always correct. So I just say, hey, I'm checking out. And they're like, okay, great, thanks. And end of story. I've recently learned through the internet that apparently a lot of people just never check out. They just leave. For those of you who've watched this channel for a while, it will not surprise you that I am deeply a rule follower. So, in my head, I'm supposed to check out. So I just do. I just go check out. Additionally, the hotel situation, I'm always a little more wary about because it kind of feels like a bar to me where if you leave your tab open at a bar, they can charge 20-25% surcharge or whatever. They can have whatever policy they want. And so, particularly when my credit card is on file at a place, I like to really close it out and make sure we're good. But yeah, I cannot believe they haven't done the mobile checkout functionality before. I really hope they roll that out soon and fast. There's just no reason not to. Once again, Disney proves they're not a tech company because, they don't need to be. People come anyway and don't complain so much that they have to change the tech capabilities. But mobile checkout's going to be great. Huge quality of life improvement, I think, for everyone. If you feel differently, please let me know why. I am always interested in hearing sort of the contrary opinions, but I don't see anything bad about this as long as the IT part actually works upon launch. And last, before we get into analytics, I do have one question for you all about the channel specifically. So since basically the vlogs started coming out, the Walt Disney World and Universal vlogs, I have sometimes been putting music in the background of the videos. Prior to this, I basically never put music in the background of the videos. There'd be, music during the little intro card and then music at the end to take you home. But while I was talking, it was just, nothing in the background. My question then is, which do you prefer? Do you like having that low-level music in the background, or would you rather not have that? You find it distracting, you just want it to be my voice and none of this other bass or clapping or whatever. I don't have a strong preference, and I enjoy channels that do it both ways, so I just want to ask you, since you're my audience, what would you prefer moving forward? All right, let's get into the analytics. So I am filming this on April 10th. If you've watched these before, you've heard me say this before, but analytics don't run until the next day. So to get through the 10th, you have to pull them on the 11th. However, this upcoming work week for me, which by the time this gets posted will be the prior work week. But anyway, it's just very busy. I have a lot of converging deadlines, and so now's when I have time to film. So I've pulled the stats for month 26 from March 11th through April 9th, so it's one day shorter than it normally is. During this time frame, we got almost 6,800 views, so that is more than last month, but lower than the couple prior months. That being said, I mean, we're over 6,500 views for 1 month, whereas before, 4,000 views was basically a really good month for me. So the past few months have just really taken off in terms of views, and I'm very grateful. This month we had about 3,800 unique viewers. That is less than last month and less than the couple months before it. But again, prior to these past 3 or 4 months, unique viewers for me was like 2,500 was great. And now we are above 3,500, so no complaints there. Of those viewers, 430 are returning, so thank you so much for coming back to the channel, watching, liking the videos, and subscribing. I really, truly do appreciate it. And even though we had less unique viewers than in recent months, we actually amassed more watch hours. This is my record number of watch hours for a single month at over 630. Last month, we just barely broke 500, which was a big deal. Now we've easily broken 600 watch hours for one single month, so I am truly shocked. View duration hasn't really changed. It ticked up a tiny bit from last month. We're now at 39%. Generally speaking, low 40s, high 30%. This is where I hang out. I might stop tracking this stat, or at least stop putting it in these updates, unless there is actually a major change. We also got a record number of impressions this month at over 82,000. Generally for me, anywhere in the 50,000 to 60,000 range is pretty successful, I think, so this is quite a big improvement. 33.5% of those impressions are coming from YouTube, which is less than last month, but still a very good number for me. I think I was always shooting to be in the 25 to 30% range, and I'm still over 30%, so that's great. Watch time from those not subscribed did do worse this month. We're at 73%, so only 27% of my watch time is coming from folks who are actually subscribed to the channel. Of course, again, converting subscribers is the goal and kind of the hardest thing. But even though my watch time from those not subscribed last month wasn't the best month I've had, I did have a really good month for new subscribers. We got 42 subscribers this month. That's the highest it's been in quite a long time, and even including these past, 3 months prior to this where I had been seeing record numbers of views and such. So that's really promising to me, and I'm just excited. Overall, I feel like I had a really good month, and I just wanted to take a step back and look at the videos that I posted this month during this time frame, so between March 10th and April 9th. For proper videos, that was the month 25 creator update, the last day of the vlog series at Walt Disney World, that news update for the DVC Polynesian Tower. My partner and I talked about pros and cons of that massive split stay we did. I did a pack with me video for my Disneyland trip, and there's the Disneyland trip trailer. And finally, just recently, I posted a video about my experience with Memory Maker from that 2021 fall trip. And then there was a smattering of shorts as well. I continue to try to post 1 to 2 shorts a week. Mostly they're sort of vibes in the parks type shorts for now. I'm thinking of other content I can do, but this is what I can manage with my workload at the moment. You can see from the views here that maybe other than the Disney Vacation Club Polynesian Tower news video, none of these did extraordinarily well. So it's interesting and probably exciting to me that clearly a lot of the views I'm getting in any monthly given period are coming from the backlog of content on the channel, not necessarily only new things I'm posting. The thought that people are finding my old content, watching it, and presumably, hopefully, still finding it helpful is really thrilling because, some of that I put a lot of work into, and so it's nice to see that that's still valuable. And if we look at the top videos for this month, you can see the only one that I posted in this last monthly period was that Disney Vacation Club news update. Otherwise, it's a good mix of general Disney topics, Disney Vacation Club, and room tours. Excluding shorts, this is the first time in quite a while I think that the prior PhotoPass Memory Maker Magic Stocks video was not the #1 video of the month. This month it was my more recent advanced dining reservations, tips and tricks video, so I'm glad people are finding that helpful. Looking at other social media over on Twitter, I now have 883 followers and I am following 1,028 accounts. And on Instagram, I have 316 followers and I am following 438 accounts. Now let's look at the lifetime of the channel. Overall, the channel has almost 79,000 views, and this is 1 day short of full stat, so it might be 79,000 once we get through April 10th. But regardless, we're getting very close to 80,000 lifetime views, which is so exciting. All those views have resulted in over 7,100 watch hours, so we broke 7,000 watch hours this month, which I really was not anticipating. Like I said, we had a record high number of watch hours for a monthly given period, and now we're over 7,000 lifetime. View duration decreased a tiny bit, 0.3%. We're now down to 41.5%. And the channel has over 994,000 impressions, so surely by this time next month we will have broken 1 million impressions for the lifetime of the channel. Impressions from YouTube went up a little bit. We are at 27.6% lifetime. This is a slow-moving stat, but you can see for the past 12 months or so that it is improving, which I do think is exciting. Watch time from those not subscribed went up 0.3% this month compared to the lifetime of last month, so it's 0.3% worse, but again, we're hovering around 70%. I may stop tracking this, or at least posting it similar to the monthly one, just because I don't think it's going to change much anytime soon. And overall, the channel has 791 subscribers, so we didn't hit 800 this month. I did not think we would. Hopefully we will by next month, but we're definitely plucking along towards that goal of 1,000 subscribers. Overall, we had a really good month. For just month 26, the percent of impressions from YouTube did go down, and the watch time from those not subscribed also got worse, but otherwise, most of the other monthly stats were really good compared to last month, and even a couple of record highs. For the lifetime stats, again, we had a couple of dips, but we broke some huge milestones, like we're at over 7,000 total watch hours for the channel. We're also approaching 80,000 total views, 1 million impressions, and 800 subscribers. Overall, it's been a very good month, and I really can't complain. And as much as I wish that videos that I post do well soon after I post them, so, seeing higher view numbers for the videos I post during this monthly period, it'd be cool. But I am still getting a lot of good views on some of the older content, including content that's like 6+ month old, so I really can't complain about that at all. I am falling a little bit behind in the vlog. I normally like to be about 3 to 4 weeks ahead in the schedule, and that's not happening at the moment due to my job. In terms of what's coming up for the next monthly period, there will definitely be at least 1, if not 2, Disneyland videos, and then I'm not entirely sure what else. I kind of have to bust my butt to catch up a little bit here, but I think I can do it, and like I've previously said, if I need to take a short break, whether it's 1 week, 2 weeks, or a little bit longer, just to work on my actual day job and settle down a little bit and catch up for this, I will of course let you know, and you will be the first to know. I hope you're enjoying the start to your spring wherever you are. I can say I was in Chicago in early April and it was still snowing, so I recognize it may not fully be spring for you yet where you are, but it is coming. I always love this changing of the seasons, and I think that's partially also why I love when baseball season starts, because it just coincides with spring. As always, if you have any questions or suggestions for me, leave those in the comments down below, and of course I will get back to you. I hope the rest of your day is super magical, and we'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.